Welcome back to West Texas View.
I want Ray to talk to us a little bit about the clergy workshop and some of the things that we've done to help the clergy within their denominations.
Well, it's a workshop that we offer to be able to help train ministers who are usually the frontline counselors in their churches. People go to them because they have a relationship with them for problems, and we are able to train them in what to look out for and know when they really need to refer it out to a professional counselor.
And many times that's the only person that a person knows to go to. They don't know anybody else to go to but the minister.
Sure.
And so if he can't help them, and then he needs to be able to refer them, and so that's part of this.
And these workshops are really important, especially for youth ministers who are working with youth that they keep they're so connected to their own world with their own cell phones and Facebook, and sometimes the youth minister may be the only one to be able to see these changes and maybe help work with the parents. And we want to help parents with the assistance of raising their kids, not raising their kids, but helping them spiritually. And if they're trained to see some red flag warnings, then we might be able to save some children.
Or even things like eating disorders and things that you need to whether they're referred to Samaritan Counseling Center or somewhere else, you need to be able to watch carefully.
You need to be trained to be able to spot it.
And then one of the ways that I'd also like for you to talk about a little bit is the ways that the staff facilitates all of this. They have to make the appointment. They're the frontline people that meets with the clients and sets them up with appointments, fills out the papers, gets insurance records and all that.
Well, Becky would probably be better to talk about all those kinds of things than I would.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the first people you get to talk to at Samaritan is on that phone, and she does the intake. Cheyenne's our receptionist and insurance clerk, and she will help you do the intake. She'll tell you what you need to do. She'll help you figure out how you can afford the services, what it'll cost, and then her job is to get them on the right calendar, whether it's mine or one of the other 4 therapists in the building. And so this is a very helpful thing. We have a billing clerk, and she's very good at helping you find ways to afford the care that Samaritan can provide. And without our development director and our executive director, we just would not be functioning. So this is critical.
And one of the things, so when you're talking about her assigning you a counselor, she knows then which one of you, first of all, has the time, and secondly, is specialized in that particular area.
Exactly. She's very good at that.
And give me an idea, if I came to you and I said, my husband and I are having marital problems, is there any way for you to tell approximately how many sessions that's going to take?
No, it's an individual process. It just depends on where you are. Some of them I call the CPR marriage. They need us to pump some life back in there. Some of them we're doing checkups and we're just making sure it stays on course. So it's always individual.
So it might be 1 session, it might be 25 sessions.
It just might.
Well, another thing before we leave the different kinds, I want you to talk about depression and anxiety, because we've had a psychiatrist to come on and talk several programs about depression and how even in little children it is such a difficult thing to spot, first of all, and then you've got to treat it because it won't go away without it.
Children, the way I explain it, we do the For Kids' Sake program, which is mandated in Ector County for divorcing parents, where we do training on how to take care of your kids through divorce. And one of the things I point out is that for children, a lot of times it's coming out in what we call somatic complaints. My stomach hurts. I don't feel good. I just can't think.
I can't go to school today because
And so what you'll see in a change in eating or behavior, maybe withdrawal and isolation or exaggerated anger. So any of these things can be an indication in a child of depression. Now multiply that up into adolescence and you can see the same thing. Isolation and withdrawal are very alarming. Get an eye on those kids' phones, on the social media. I have a lot of parents worrying about the privacy for an adolescent. I'm like, your adolescent doesn't get privacy. You've got to know what's going on in the world because they'll be expressing it to the peers, not you in adolescence.
Yes.
And so I'll tell, if the peers are telling you to worry, worry. The other thing is in adults, like I said, in men sometimes depression comes out more as anger, so they're not knowing that it's depression. For women, eating differently, sleeping differently, men and women, just a feeling of hopelessness and worthlessness. And so any of these things, it's worth getting into a therapist, and we'll assess and we'll let you know what you're dealing with and help you get the right medical assessment with your doctor or whatever it is that you need.
And we've talked, Chris, about how ministers refer a lot of the patients, a lot of the clients, but also employers
Yes.
spot depression.
Oh, yes.
And that's one of the things that I've heard employers say is one of our biggest problems is men going through divorces, and they're saying on the outside, I'm doing fine, but I can see evidence on the job that they're not doing fine.
Quality of work, attendance to work, anger at work, these can all be indicators that they need some counseling. Get them some help and get your employee back on track.
And that's something that we could team up with the business community as well, as we do employee assistance programs where an employer will pay for a block of employment and allows their employees to come in on the company's dime and receive that counseling, and it's win-win-win. The employee wins because they get the help that they need. The employer gets a more dedicated employee because they're concerned about taking care of their family, and Samaritans wins because that's a revenue source for us that that we need because we're nonprofit.
And your biggest problem is always reaching the people that need you.
Yes.
Because it's still not something. When we come back after the break, I want us to talk a little bit about some of the things that we do in life coaching, and maybe give some examples of play therapy and how we do it. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back in just a minute.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.